One man walked freely through America's most secure military bases. Nobody suspected him. He was sending secrets that would lead to the attack that changed everything. His real identity was hidden in plain sight. He photographed ships, mapped harbors, and counted planes. His final message contained coordinates that sealed thousands of fates. But there's something the history books don't tell you about him, something that changes everything we thought we knew. What happened to this spy after the attack was even more shocking than what he did before it. The ordinary man. In 1941, a man lived in Honolulu, Hawaii. He looked completely normal, just another businessman trying to make a living. He ran a small office downtown. He smiled at his neighbors. He paid his bills on time. Nobody gave him a second thought. But this man had a secret that would cost thousands of American lives. His name was Takeo Yoshikawa, and he wasn't really a businessman at all. He was a trained Japanese naval officer. Tokyo had sent him on a mission that would change the course of World War II. Every morning, he would wake up early. He'd put on his suit and tie. Then he'd walk out into the Hawaiian sunshine. But he wasn't going to sell anything. He was going hunting. Hunting for information that would help Japan launch the most devastating surprise attack in American history. But how did he get into America without anyone noticing? The perfect disguise. Yoshikawa didn't sneak into America. He walked right through the front door. He had official papers, a diplomatic passport. He worked at the Japanese consulate in Honolulu. The American government knew he was there. They just didn't know what he was really doing. See, diplomatic workers have special protection. They can't be arrested easily. They can't be searched. It's international law. Japan used this rule perfectly. They sent a spy disguised as a diplomat. Yoshikawa's official job was simple: paperwork, helping Japanese citizens with documents, answering phone calls, basic office work. But this was just his cover story. His real job started after work hours. He would rent cars and drive around the island. He'd visit beaches. He'd go to restaurants. He looked like a tourist enjoying paradise, but his eyes were always working, always watching, always counting. American soldiers, Navy ships, aircraft carriers, everything Japan needed to know. And he had access to places most people could never reach. The spy's playground. Pearl Harbor was right there, just miles from downtown Honolulu. And here's the shocking part. It wasn't heavily guarded. Not like today. Regular people could drive near the naval base. They could see the ships from public roads. Yoshikawa took full advantage of this. He'd drive up to high ground. He'd park his car. Then he'd sit there, eating lunch. Just a man enjoying the view. But his eyes were always working, always watching, always counting. American soldiers, Navy ships, aircraft carriers, everything Japan needed to know. And he had access to places most people could never reach. The spy's secret messages. Every few days, Yoshikawa would return to the consulate. He'd write detailed reports, ship positions, aircraft numbers, defense patterns, everything written in code. Then came the dangerous part, getting the information to Japan. He couldn't just mail it. Letters were checked, phone calls were monitored. So how did he do it? The consulate had a special radio transmitter hidden in the building. This was legal for diplomatic offices. They needed to communicate with their home country. But Yoshikawa was using it for war intelligence. His messages would travel thousands of miles across the Pacific Ocean, straight to Japanese military headquarters in Tokyo. Admirals and generals would read his reports. They'd study his details. They'd plan their attack based on his information. And the FBI knew something was wrong. They suspected the consulate was sending suspicious messages. But remember, diplomatic protection. They couldn't just raid the building. International law tied their hands. Then Yoshikawa discovered something that made Tokyo very excited.
The pattern. After months of watching, Yoshikawa noticed something important. The American Navy had a routine. Every week, the ships would follow the same pattern. They'd leave port on Monday or Tuesday. They'd run training exercises at sea. Then they'd return by Friday or Saturday. This meant something critical. Every weekend, almost the entire Pacific Fleet sat together in Pearl Harbor. Dozens of ships, thousands of sailors, all in one place, like sitting ducks in a pond. Yoshikawa sent this information immediately. Tokyo's war planners couldn't believe their luck. They'd been worried about attacking a moving fleet. Ships spread across the ocean. That would be nearly impossible. But ships parked together? That changed everything. The Japanese military started planning in detail. They built models of Pearl Harbor. Pilots practiced attack runs. Submarine crews studied underwater approaches, all based on Yoshikawa's intelligence. And he kept sending updates right up until the last possible moment. His final message would seal America's fate. The final report. December 6th, 1941. Just one day before the attack, Yoshikawa sent his most important message yet. He'd just finished his final surveillance run. He'd counted every ship in the harbor. The message was short but devastating. 8 battleships present, no aircraft carriers. Repeat, no carriers in port. Ships are moored in pairs. Minimal air patrols. Low alert status. Sunday morning recommended for attack. This was everything Japan needed. They knew exactly what would be waiting. They knew the defenses were relaxed. They knew Sunday morning would catch America sleeping. The attack force was already at sea, moving toward Hawaii. Yoshikawa's message was the green light they'd been waiting for. The mission was on. That night, Yoshikawa slept in his apartment, just blocks from the naval base. He knew that tomorrow morning everything would change. The ships he'd been watching would be burning. The sailors he'd seen walking around would be fighting for their lives. And nobody suspected him. But what happened on December 7th was somehow even more devastating than planned. The attack. Sunday morning, December 7th, 7:55 a.m. The first wave of Japanese planes appeared over Pearl Harbor. Yoshikawa heard them from his apartment. He rushed outside. He watched the entire attack unfold. His intelligence had been perfect. The battleships he'd counted hit within the first 10 minutes. The USS Arizona exploded. Over 1,000 sailors died instantly. The USS Oklahoma flipped upside down. Men were trapped inside. The USS California sank. The USS West Virginia burned. All 8 battleships were damaged or destroyed. Over 2,400 Americans died that morning. More than 1,100 were wounded. Nearly 200 aircraft destroyed. It was the worst military disaster in American history. And Yoshikawa had made it possible. His months of careful watching, his detailed reports, His final message about Sunday morning. Everything had worked exactly as Japan hoped. But here's what nobody talks about. Yoshikawa's intelligence wasn't just good, it was too good. The attack succeeded beyond anyone's imagination. And this created a massive problem, because someone had to answer for this intelligence failure. The aftermath. After the attack, the FBI stormed the Japanese consulate. They arrested everyone. Diplomats, staff, clerks, everyone, except Yoshikawa. Because they didn't know who he was. His cover had been that perfect. They held him as a regular diplomatic employee, nothing special. They eventually exchanged him for American diplomats trapped in Japan. He went home a hero. But America never forgot. The question haunted military intelligence for years. How did Japan know so much? How did they get such perfect information? Who was feeding them details? It wasn't until after the war that the truth came out. When Japan surrendered, records were discovered. Documents about the Pearl Harbor operation. And there was Yoshikawa's name, the spy who'd been hiding in plain sight. American investigators were shocked. He'd been right there, walking around Honolulu, for months, and nobody had caught him. Yoshikawa lived until 1993. He never expressed regret. He said he was just doing his duty, following orders, serving his country. One man, one spy. He changed the direction of the entire war. And he did it while everyone was watching. This Japanese spy in America during World War II proved how dangerous Japanese espionage in America World War II really was. The World War II Japanese spy impact reached far beyond Pearl Harbor. Takeo Yoshikawa, the Japanese spy at Pearl Harbor, showed how effective Japanese intelligence WW2 operations could be. His success influenced Japanese-American internment WW2 espionage fears. Japanese spy networks in the U.S. during World War II were more sophisticated than anyone imagined. The Pearl Harbor spy Japanese military sent changed history. Japanese secret intelligence in WW2 had been watching America all along.